invite you to meet Stephanie Smith. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for joining the GCBN family. We're so excited to have you on board as a part of this thriving community. I'm excited about how she's going to assist us today to go higher. This is still yet the year of higher ground. Nope, still focused on that. And we believe that the greater opportunity for you today is to glean the nuggets that God has given to Stephanie to share with us so that we can, in this last quarter, 2 months remaining, a little into the one of the 2 months already, today's the 5th, but we're trusting God to use her in a powerful way today. Stephanie, we've already promoted you on paper and told the people who you are and what you do and why it's important for them to know on paper. Now tell them from your heart, who are you? Let us hear from you and welcome again.
Well, thank you so much, Beth, for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity and being part of this community. It makes a big difference. So first of all, thank you. My name is Stephanie Smith. As Beth mentioned, I am co-owner of New Light Financial Solutions. My husband and I actually run the business together. And we started this business because when we had our first son. He's almost 9. Seems so long ago. My husband was working at retail. He was at Publix, and he just knew that he wanted to stay at home with the kids, and he needed something to do that. So he was a stay-at-home dad for a while, and we decided to support that through the business for that flexibility, which I'm sure a lot of people start their businesses for. And so that's where we're at and how we got started. But we're really just on a mission to help simplify business finances because it's something that's complicated, and we want to help demystify it for people and just partner with people to have a growing and successful business. So that's what we are here to do in our business.
Oh, I'm so excited about the work that you do because a lot of people misunderstand scripture and say that money is the root of all evil. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. What God wants us to understand is his word, Ecclesiastes. Money is the answer to everything. So financial wellness, and even as you were speaking, and I get this, I don't profess to be a prophet or anything, but the GCBN platform, we have several people that are gifted and talented in what you have talked about thus far. And I mean, you just said your intro that I know Lisa, make a note, and she will. We have to do a financial wellness seminar because of the fact, like I just said, Ecclesiastes says money is the answer to everything. And one of the things that I heard this morning is that people are stressed out on local station 104.7, The Fish. And Kevin and Taylor this morning, early morning doctor's appointment, were saying that people are so stressed out today. And the top 3 stressors, the number one was, guess what? Finances. So Stephanie, thank you today for what you're going to share. This is your platform, this is your podcast, and we want to hear from you today and what God has given to you for us.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think everything you said is very important, and we'll talk about that. It relates to everything that I have planned. So, because I do feel like there's so many Christians that have that attitude of like, I shouldn't be asking for money or trying to make a lot of money because money is the root of all evil. But as we'll get into it, this and the conversation is you'd still need money to do all the things God wants you to do. So, if you don't have the money, you can't do a lot of those things. So
Excellent. Excellent.
can I
So
share my
you're
screen?
driving and you drive the way you want to drive. I want to thank God for Lisa Muth being with us today. She's hosting us already, getting us situated as you've evidenced already, but she's also taking care of our live stream over into the Facebook side of the house. So she'll keep us posted in that regard. And thank you for being here, Lisa.
Thank you, both of you. So my presentation, can you see my screen?
Most definitely.
Okay, so we're talking about owning a machine, not a job, And I want this to be more of a perspective change of how you view your business, not necessarily like I'm just creating a machine, but I think it's more of a perspective change. And just starting off, oh man, that is not where I wanted to start off. Let me go way back to the beginning. So apologies on that one. I don't know where it started. All right, here's just a picture of me and my husband. I already introduced myself, but I did want to include that. And I have to show pictures of my children because I love them. And I have two boys. One is about to turn 6 next month, and the other one's going to be 9 next year. And they are just the highlights of our lives. So have to put that out there. But I want to start the conversation with why most businesses fail, because we are given these opportunities and these gifts from God to start a business, and we want to share that with the world. But unfortunately, there's some statistics that are not necessarily happy. Did you know, Beth, that after 1 year in business, 20% of businesses go out of business? So 20% close their doors. That's a high number.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at this graph, it doubles by year 3 and it goes up to 50% after 5 years. So after 5 years in business, 1 out of every 2 businesses are going to close their doors. I think that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the goal to start a business and close after 5 years. We need the business to run longer than that. So back to what you had said about the radio station, they're talking about people are stressed out. What do you think is the reason that most businesses fail?
Finances.
It's money, right?
Yes, it's
because money solves almost every problem.
Answer to everything, solves oh, look at that. Look at
in business, right? Especially business. So the point is money solves every business problem, because if you have a marketing problem, you can hire more people to do marketing. You can do marketing campaigns, right? You can invest in your marketing more. If you have management issues, you can invest in training those managers, or you can hire new managers, or whatever that is you're looking to do. If we have a down market, like we're all familiar with at this point, that if you have that money in your business, it'll help you get through that, similar to a seasonal business. So if you're in a business that does really well during one season and not as well in another season, if you have that money saved up and you have good cash flow, it's going to get you through to the next season. If you have a sales problem, then you can have that money to invest in more salespeople or whatever it is. But essentially, it comes down to the fact that money can solve all of the problems in business.
Awesome. I love it, love it, love it. Most definitely.
Yeah. So where does this money come from in people's businesses, right? There's actually 3 sources. And I feel like a lot of people start a business and they just assume their business is just going to make money. But there's more than one way for businesses to get money to run from. So there's 3 sources of income for every business. The first one being debt. So you can take on loans, you can use your credit cards, you can actually have debt from vendors. So if you pay a vendor and you don't pay them in a timely manner, you still owe them money. So it's still debt. And then second to that is investments. You're going to invest your own money. Typically, people do that when they first start their business, or they're going to go to other people to get investments. Or you might actually sell stock to get money to start your business or fund your business. And then there's money from the business itself, the money that the business generates. And this last one here is where I'm going to focus today, because we want the business to make money. I don't think God wants us all to go in debt over our business, whether taking loans or putting our own money into our own business. We want to create something sustainable for our businesses to last beyond those statistics that we just talked about.
Excellent.
And when I talk about the money in the business, I think there's a lot of confusion and maybe some shame and guilt about not really understanding business finances. As I mentioned, I really want to try to help simplify things. So when I talk about what the money that the business creates, it really comes down to your revenue, which I feel like everybody's familiar with, right? Like you're going to go make sales and make money. But then there's so many other things you have to pay for. There's your operating expenses, there's your taxes, there's debt payments if you have loan payments, there's customers who don't end up paying you. And then there's vendor payments that I talked about. And what's left over after you make all these payments to other people, that's the money that the business creates. And that's really where you want to focus. And I feel like we get stuck sometimes thinking, well, I made money and I have money in the bank account and I have enough to cover my rent, so I should be good. And then we just move on, but we don't plan to see all of these different kinds of expenses in our business and what's going to happen with them. That said, I want to talk about a business that's a machine versus a business that's a job. This is the what the whole conversation is about. So when I say a business that is a machine, what does that mean? It's going to be a business that's doing what it's supposed to do. If it's not doing what it's supposed to do, you need to determine the cause for that, and then you fix it. And then because you do these things, it keeps it running at peak performance. It's just like any other machine. And I'm going to give you an example, Beth. Do you have a
Okay.
washing machine at home?
I do.
You do. Okay. So what's the purpose of your washing machine?
To clean my clothes.
To clean your clothes. You have a machine. The purpose
Yeah.
is to clean clothes, right?
Yeah.
Is your washing machine made up of multiple parts?
Most definitely.
Definitely. Okay. If it stops doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is washing clothes, what would you do?
I would call a repairman, but in my case, I call my husband.
Somebody, right? The whole
Yeah.
point is you're going to figure out why it's
Yeah.
happening and
Yeah.
then fix it. And then you do that because you want it to wash your clothes, right? Um,
Exactly.
unless you have tons of money lying around and then maybe you'll just chuck it out the door and you'll buy a new one. But most often, the machines that we have in
Fair.
our life, like your car, you're not going to just get rid of it. You're going to find out what's not working and fix it. Right. So,
I
guess
love
what? It's the exact same with a business. So, what is the purpose of a business? Do you know?
the purpose of a business is livelihood. Yes. And a
Right.
service to provide a service for others, to have a livelihood for yourself. Yeah. And
Yeah.
to be productive, keep the community going.
So
Yeah.
the main purpose to do all of those things you talked about is to make money. Your
Right.
business is
For
around to make
sure.
money.
That's most urgent. Yeah.
Right, right. And that's what we're talking about today. So, just like that machine, your business is made of multiple parts. I think this is kind of hard to visualize, but there are different things going on in your business. I think we run a business and we just don't think about it honestly. But if you think about it this way, your business is made of different parts. And if it isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing, if your business isn't making money or the money you want it to make, there's got to be a reason why, just like any other machine. And if you find that reason why and you fix it, then your business will be back to doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is making money.
Yeah.
And if you can get your business to make money or make more money, there's so much you can do with that money, right? We've talked about some of this before, but I'm going to give a list and then I think we'll have a conversation about this. But if you had more money, you could hire more employees, right? You could invest in marketing. You might start looking into new products or product innovation. You could hire experts or consultants to help you do better business. You can invest in your management, maybe some leadership training. You could expand into new markets or buy new locations. You can buy equipment. Maybe you need a new vehicle of some sort or a new truck or a new building. There's lots of different things that fall into this category. You could pay down your debt if you do have any loans. You could take time off, which is super important, or you could pay yourself. And I feel like what I want to say here is it's not necessarily about all the things in business and it's not about making money. This is the opportunity. What's the G in the higher ground, right? Is giving.
Gracious giver. Yeah.
Great. You want to be a gracious giver. The only way you can give to other people is to have things to give, right? So maybe the goal is setting a fund. My husband and I have decided to do this for next year. We want to set a budget to give back. We already set a budget for tithing, so we can't tithe if we don't have enough money, but we want to set another budget to take some of our income and just be able to bless other people with it. And you can't do that if you don't have money.
That's a key point. I want to come in here. There's opportunities where people are missing out because I honestly believe you mentioned the G in the higher acronym, and I want to run through them really quickly here. Heart of humility, inseparable integrity. Of course, you mentioned gracious giver. The second H is honor him in your health, exemplary execution, and relationship before revenue. The opportunity that is on the table right now is the G, gracious giver. A lot of people don't recognize how empowering it is to be in a position to give to others, to give back, as you said. And if you don't have enough revenue happening to be able to manage all of these opportunities that are listed here, then you're definitely are not going to be in a position to give back. And you miss that experience. The opportunity that you're talking about, Stephanie, this is a great presentation already. I'm enjoying it. Is giving is the highest form of living, has been said. And the question is how high are you living? And if you're not in a position to be able to give something, starting with your tithe, like I love the way you mapped out for you and your husband already 2025. If you're not already thinking 2025, that's another day. We need to have a conversation, and that needs
Yeah.
to happen really soon. But the other opportunity is what you said about your the requirement, and that's the standard. Some people like to operate in the standard. I like to exceed above and beyond the expectations. So tithing is good. And so please don't think I'm knocking it. Wonderful if you're tithing the 10%. But when you get ready to really go higher, because that's what I heard when you said that, is your husband and you are preparing to go higher. And one of the first places that you can start to go higher is in your giving. And so with your looking for that opportunity to see how you can position yourself to give back, that's providing you an opportunity to go higher because you need to make more so that flow will go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of it starts with goals, right? Like, what is it you want? And then you need to try to achieve that, right? Like, we're trying to set targets for where we want to be. But I also want to point out, too, that it's not all about giving money. I think we don't always think about when you run a business, you're essentially just blessing people in general. So, hiring employees, those employees work for you. That's a blessing. If you can hire one more employee, you're giving someone the opportunity to have a job. If you're hiring consultants, that's those people have gifts from God that are there to pour into other people. So you're paying them, and that's giving them the opportunity to share their gifts. So all of these things, they all fold in together back to giving, whether it's money or not. And when you can also spend the money to invest in people to free up your own time, you could also have more time to invest as well. So maybe you want to volunteer, or you could do this in a lot of ways. Maybe you want to hire an intern and give back to the community that way, or you're going to use your time to give back to the community. But when you're able to free yourself up from the burdens of all these things, you can do so much more with giving, whether that's money, time, or talent.
Excellent, excellent. One of the opportunities that you ask of me, do I understand or do I know the purpose of the business? And the first thing that I said that came out of my mouth, of course, the standard for me would be to make money. But in addition to that, would be what you just said, a lot providing a livelihood for yourself and others. Yeah, that's how the economy works. You know, people need jobs. And if you're a source to be able to provide that resource for others, the great opportunity is, oh my God, that's leadership. Not only are you covering an opportunity for you to be able to make money, but also for others to make money as well.
Right. And all that comes down to owning and operating a business. And obviously, you can take it higher, right, by making sure you're investing in your people and being a good steward of your business and treating people right, right? You want people to be able to want to work for you. And it just all comes down to running your business in the right way.
Excellent.
And what I want to say after this is the good news is just like that washing machine, your business every business is made up of the same parts that we can all get to know and figure out what's working and not working. But before we go into that, I want to say if you end up with a business that doesn't have that and it's not generating money or enough money, what does that end up looking like? So there's two situations here, right? So either at worst case scenario, you're going to be one of those statistics that we talked about at the beginning, and you're going to go out of business. But the best case scenario is you're going to have a business that's struggling to grow. So if you're not really taking this opportunity to run your business like a machine, you might constantly struggle. And either way in this situation, you're going to be stressed out and overworked and underpaid. And because of that, these people that are in this situation who are stressed out, they end up owning a job and not even realizing it. So the whole idea of owning a machine versus a job is when you are stressed out about finances and you aren't running your business based on numbers and finances, you end up basically owning a job.
Awesome. Mm.
Yeah. And I don't know if you knew this, but over 86% of business owners make less than $100,000 a year. And not
Mm-hmm.
saying that $100,000 isn't bad. That's a great amount of money, but we're talking about less than 100,000. And this is a huge number of businesses. And there's tons of small businesses in our country. And it's like, if you're struggling and you're working all the time, and is it worth it? Or do you really want to maybe just go back to that W-2 job and work for someone else? So I don't want anyone to be in this situation of struggling, right? And I think God too, there's also this mindset shift of as business owners, sometimes we don't have the mindset of abundance. It's out there for us for the taking, for God for giving to us. And if we have that mindset of we're never going to make it, there's too many other people doing the same thing that I do, there's not enough out there, then you're going to be stuck in this group of people. So we do have to change our mindset to think about the abundance that's out there. And God wants to bless all of us. You're ask him for blessings, and he ask and you shall receive, right? So
Right.
um I think God wants to bless us, but we have to change our mindset about all of the things before he can do that.
I applaud you. Yes, because we think from my perspective, Ephesians 3:20, now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above and beyond all that we're able to ask or think with the power that worketh within us. And I hear people quote that often, but the mindset, when we read in Romans 12:1 and 2 about transforming our mind to what you said. We ask God to bless us. We need to do a study on the word bless. What does that really mean? And you talk about abundance. We should have that abundance mentality, not so much that it's anything that made us great, that to show God's blessings coming forth, the manifestation of his blessings in our lives. And not always, like you said, money, but opportunities. Money is the answer to all things. It will allow us opportunities that you at that bottom of the list, I want to put it at the top. Take time off. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that part. Instead of that, you can allow other people to be able to take on additional roles that you're trying to work in the business. Excuse me, when God's wanting you to work on the business, the creativity, the thoughts, the things that we have issues with more often than not in expanding our mindset is how we see that we're to lead the business, looking for those revenue opportunities to bring on additional projects, the witty inventions, the great ideas to expand, to allow and delegate. Because I know with me, with my team, they know stuff. They do stuff. I put the idea out there. If you want to give me credit for something, maybe, but it's them that God has equipped and allowed them to do and run with it to expand the vision. So this is wonderful. We've got to get this revenue mark up. Help us.
Yeah. And I think aligning your goals to God's goals will help you do that, right? Like if you have all those things, if you write down what it is you want, aside from money, right? We want the business to make money, then that's what you ask him for. And he will provide you ways to do all of those things. And it might be through your business. And because we are entrepreneurs for a reason, right? Like God's using our business to do all of these things.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I want to talk about if you're in that situation, like how do you get back control from your business, right? So, first of all, I want to say most business owners start a job because they're skilled at a craft, right? If you really love marketing, you might start a marketing company. If you're like me, you like finances, you start something in the financial space. If you're HVAC tech, you might start an HVAC company. This is usually where it begins, is something that you're good at. Your God has given you a gift of some sort and you want to share it with the world. But secondarily, most business owners also start a business because they want control. They want control of their time. They want to decide when they work, where they work, all that stuff. And they want control of how much money they make. They want to make more money or a certain amount of money. The problem is sometimes I don't think everyone goes into starting a business and they're like, this is going to be amazing. And they don't realize that when you start a business, whatever your craft is, you also have to do all the other things. You have to be a marketer. You have to be in sales. You have to know your finances. You have to figure out how to do all the things. And what ends up happening is and I've been in this situation before too, is you get frustrated or overwhelmed and you just focus on the thing you know the best, and everything else in your business ends up struggling, and your business ends up struggling because of it. Right. So I don't know marketing very well, my marketing struggles. So that's everything. There's so many things on this: getting clients, making sales, optimizing your pricing, knowing when to buy things, knowing when's a good time to expand, knowing if your marketing's even getting a return on your investment, knowing your numbers, I feel like is a really big one. Hiring and managing people, the right people, when to do it, and everything else. So when we don't know how to manage the business well and we get stuck on our craft, everything struggles. And then the business itself struggles. And what ends up happening is these business owners have the worst of both worlds because they don't have a paycheck because it's not a full-time job. And they don't have enough control because they don't have the control they actually wanted when they first started. And I don't think God wants any of us in this situation. He doesn't want you. The number one stressor is finances. There's so many stressors at this point. I don't think God wants anyone to start a business and work 80, 90 hours a week every day and never take time off. We were just talked to a business owner the other day, and they're like, we started a business over a year ago, haven't taken any time to ourselves. God doesn't want that. I mean, if you look in the Old Testament, he commanded that you take the Sabbath to rest, right?
Excellent.
So it's not like God wants you to be stressed out all the time. And the way that you get these things back is to turn your business or look at your business like it's a machine, and specifically one that is making money, a money making machine.
And no, God's desire is 3 John 2, beloved above all things, I pray that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. So if you're stressed out all the time, that's the first indicator you're not in good health. Okay. And if
Yeah.
you're working those long hours and having to do that, that's going to cause you to be stressed out. And in addition, the onset of stress is other opportunities working against your organs and your sleep patterns and all of that. I just came from the doctor's this morning. But and one of the things, and this is an aside that I'll say, is I'm owning my health. And if I'm doing that, it ties into what you're talking about right now. Turn your job into a machine, because that's what the concept of working in your business or working on your business comes from, is seeing your business not as my job, you know. I'm the business leader, the business manager, the business visionary, you know. I forecast, I do all of that type stuff. The opportunity is seeing the machine. I'm a part of the process in the machine, but I'm looking forward to hearing more because I'm still holding on to the washing machine. And I'm thinking that when my washer needs repair, there's indicators sometimes,
Mhm.
things that I can fix when it signals me. It's this fancy thing that tells me this and this. And if I know what DEI means, then I can go and follow the process to correct that. So I'm loving this.
And we'll get there in just a second of what we look
Okay.
at least. But coming back to the machine, right? All machines have a purpose. And we talked about this already. And your business's purpose is to make money. And if we start taking that look at our business like it's a machine, then you know that it's made up of multiple parts. If it fails at what it's supposed to be doing, which is making money, it's your job as the business owner to figure it out. And that's not necessarily on you. Like it might be consulting with someone else or doing research. You could be hiring for some reason, but it's your job as the business owner to figure it out. And you can't just sit around and go, woe is me, I don't have any, I don't have any leads. Like you have to figure out what the cause is of those things. And so what we do in my business and what I would recommend to everybody is we look at 16 particular drivers of revenue, profit, and cash flow. Obviously, I'm in the financial space, so the drivers and the things and the parts that I look at are going to be financially driven. So it's your job as the business owner to make sure that each part of the machine is running at peak performance. So the parts that I'm going to talk about, they fall into three categories. They either impact your revenue, your profit, or your cash flow. And when I talk about revenue, that's what you sell, right? You're selling. I think this is what everyone's most familiar with. I need to make sales and make money. Then beyond that is your profit. So after you take all of your expenses out of what you sold, that's your profit. But your cash flow, which I feel like is often even more overlooked, is what you keep after everything else in the business. So I'm going to walk through an example. So let's say that you had a $50,000 month in revenue. That's like a great month, right? Whatever you're doing. But you had $30,000 in expenses. So that leaves you with $20,000 in profit. So still looks really good on paper, right? And I don't know how many of you look at your financial reports. It's a lot of jargon, but your profit and loss, this is kind of looking like your profit and loss. And on paper, you might say, man, my company, we made $20,000 this month. That's amazing. But there's so much more to the story that your financial reports actually don't look at. Suppose in this month, you had to pay $4,000 in taxes. You had $3,000 in debt payments because you took out a lot of loans when you first got started. You took out $6,000 to pay yourself. Hooray. You should always do that. Very important. And maybe you didn't get paid by a customer. So part of that $50,000 is you made a sale for $12,000, but they didn't pay you yet. So technically, while you made that sale, you don't have the money. So that money is not there. So after I take all of this out of that $20,000, I'm negative $5,000. That's not where you want to be. You started off with, you're thinking you're having a really good month. And even with your profit, you end up with this negative $5,000, which is just a crazy number. And we talked about at the very beginning, where does this money actually come from? And in your business, it's going to come from one of three places, like we talked about. It's either going to come as an investment, like you have to pay that out of your own bank account. You're investing in the money. You're either going to get a loan, like I need a loan to pay for this, or you're going to have the business itself pay for that money. And I hope that everyone has the extra money to cover these costs when these months happen. So it's very important to take a more holistic view of how your business finances are running, other than just the standard financial reports that are out there, which are really built for accountants and bookkeepers and not really clear for business owners. They're not really good for telling the whole story. And maybe one day QuickBooks and everyone will jump on board to find something to tell a better story, but we're not there yet. Excuse me. Okay, so the point is, if you can improve your revenue, profit, and cash flow if you focus on the things that drive those things, right? And that's where the parts come into play. So all the parts drive one of these things. And normally I would spend a lot of time going over them. I'm going to just show all of them to you. and on one slide. So I apologize, and we'll talk through some of them, but it's a lot of jargon because it is financial. It is in the financial space, but they fall into these buckets. So here's the parts of the business I want everyone to consider, to think about, to just ask yourself, have I ever tracked this before? And if not, you should start. Do I know any of these numbers? And if not, you should start. So that's a lot of the message is you really don't know how you're doing as a business if you're not actually tracking anything. But let's go through the parts. So the parts for revenue, there's 5 of them. It's leads, conversion rate, retention rate, purchase frequency rate, and average transaction value. All of these things impact your revenue. So this is essentially who knows about you, who's making purchases from you, how much are they spending with you, how often are they spending with you, are they coming back as repeat customers? All of that falls into the revenue category. And if you are having a revenue problem in your business, then these are the things you should be looking at. Do more people need to find out about you? You need to increase your leads. Maybe your messaging's kind of wrong and those people aren't converting into sales. That's your conversion rate. You might need to improve your messaging. Is there a reason that they're buying once and never buying again? You might need to look into that. So all those things impact your revenue. When it comes to your profit, there's 5 more. It's your cost of goods, your marketing, your payroll, your overhead, and there's some other random income and expenses. So cost of goods, I feel like is a confusing term that most people know about, but don't know about at the same time. So, and it's different for every business. It depends on your business, but you might've heard it as cost of goods sold. It could be cost of sales. It could be cost of services, cost of goods. All of these things are essentially the amount of money it takes to produce your product or service. So for example, let's say I make t-shirts. My cost of goods is going to be what I need to make that t-shirt. I need the t-shirt. I might need the whatever I'm using to print, the ink, or if it's something else, you need that. You might need labor. You're paying someone to make those t-shirts. All that falls in your cost of goods. And this is a huge expense for businesses. And this is where the idea of margins come into play and how much money you're actually making on what you're selling. So that's a really important one. Marketing is simple enough. How much are you spending on your marketing endeavors? And as you grow, are you spending more? Do you notice? And as we talk about tracking things, are you noticing that trends? If you during a marketing campaign, you're getting more sales, that's some trends that you want to look for. Payroll includes everything that's not in the cost of goods. So this can be like admin staff or office managers. If you're paying someone to produce or deliver a product or service, that falls in the cost of goods. If you're paying someone for anything else, that falls in your payroll. And this is typically one of the largest expenses businesses have. And there's a lot around payroll and hiring the right people and paying them the right amount that falls into this category, but super important to look out for. Next is overhead expenses. This is your basic expenses. You have rent. Do you pay for office supplies? If you're like me, you might have 1 to 10 to 20 subscriptions to something. All of that falls into this bucket. And I would say one super easy way to reduce expenses is go find out how many subscriptions you're paying for and cancel some of them because you might not actually need them. And then the last one is other income and expenses. So this is kind of a random bucket, but I think it's kind of neat. So on the expensive side, it's something not related to your actual business. Like maybe you're paying a parking ticket or something. That's not an expense your business has. Or from the income side, maybe you're getting cashback rewards for the credit card you're using. That's money your business is making, but it's not necessarily making through sales or services. So if you don't have cashback rewards cards, you should and use them in your business. It's a great free way to get money if you're not using like a travel card to get travel points. But all of these 5 things impact your profit. So the revenue items, like it's more like I want to make more revenue. So I want to make sure these numbers are in line to make more. And the profit ones are kind of the opposite, right? Like I want to reduce my expenses to make sure my profit is higher. So they're kind of opposite. Oh man, that was a lot. Okay, I see you, Ty. I'm going to go through the last five real quick. So,
No, that's really good. This is really good. The way that you've broken it down and the formula that you presented basically is, revenue minus the profits, and then what do you have left and remaining for the cash flow. I'm already, we've got to talk beyond today. Okay. Look, Lisa said, yes, so good. Because my head is just spinning over here because the way that you present it, okay, these are great ideas for a lot of my taxes too. That's what
oh
Lisa's,
yeah,
yes, this is so awesome. And the way we're so event driven here and calculating that, because every time I turn around, we're doing an event and uh, all of that. Like, for instance, one of our bigger events, probably our largest event that we do is God Golfing Girls. Okay. And this right here, just seeing it like this, honestly, I'll be transparent. I am doing it like that, but it wasn't like
not
this.
always like that,
Right,
probably.
right. It
Yeah, you got to
doesn't,
start
no.
somewhere.
No, no. And I mean, this just orders it more so, you know.
Right.
But this is good. We've got to share this more. We got to share this out. We've got to actually be able to allow you to, yeah, we need a workshop. I'm just going to put it out there. Yeah.
I am happy to
Yeah,
do
we
that.
got to
I have
learn how to work the machine.
next step on the top of this as well, and worksheets that people can use too if they're not already doing that. I have resources that I can share
Okay.
with people because it's important, and I want to spread the word about it.
And it's an alignment with the name of your business, New Lights.
Right.
And then from my perspective, because this is shedding, it's enlightening the way that God has given it to you to map it out. It makes it easy for the non-accountant, major or whatever, or
Right.
to be able to follow the path, to understand it, to be able to relate to it and show productivity from it. The opportunity here is to help people to transition from um, flying by the seat of your pants, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And
That's
I'm
exactly what
Beth
it is.
Copeland, both hands and feet. Been there, done that, fight that thing. Okay.
Right. I
Okay.
feel like we've all been there at some point in time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And fun fact, I actually, when we were deciding on a name for the business, I was meditating one day and I asked God, I was like, I just need a name for this business because I chat GPT'd it and there was like, I didn't like any of the options. And he said to me, new light, new light. I want to put your finances in a new light. So that's exactly where the name came from. And that's what we want to do. We want to just put your finances in a new light, put everything in a new light because you should know about it. And it
Right.
shouldn't
And I
be
didn't
super
know
complicated.
that. I had no idea. So there you go. Confirmation.
Awesome. So the last group is all related to cash flow. So this is how much money you have left because we were talking about like your profit and loss, if you were, or your income statement talks about your revenue and your profit and your expenses. But the thing at the bottom, everything at the bottom lives elsewhere. So this is going to be your days sales outstanding. I'm going to go through these one by one. This is how long it takes someone to pay you. So if you send out an invoice and they take 30 days to pay you, then that's a 30-day period. So from a cash flow perspective, the faster they pay you, the faster you have money. So you want to make sure that this number is low. Then the next one's similar on the inventory front. So days inventory outstanding. And this only applies to companies that have inventory, obviously. But this is how fast you're cycling through your inventory. If you are that person who's selling t-shirts, how long are those t-shirts sitting on the shelf? You don't want to end up with a ton of t-shirts sitting around, not getting sold. And because it's money. What good is your asset if it's not making you money? So you want this to be relatively low as well. Again, it depends on your business and what you're selling. Next step is assets. So either the sale or the purchase of an asset. So let's say you need trucks, you have trucks in your business. I'm either going to buy a truck and that reduces the amount of cash I have on hand, or I'm going to sell a truck and that will increase my cash on hand. So that depends on the situation. When it comes to days payable outstanding, this is actually like the opposite of days sales outstanding, but it's for your vendors. This is how long you're taking to pay your vendors. And I feel like this one's a weird one because as a business owner, I want to get paid as fast as possible. But when you have vendors, from a cash flow perspective, you actually want to take as long as possible to pay them. Because let's say you're in a construction company and you have to pay for your project kind of upfront, but your customer pays you at the end. If you can get your vendors to let you take 60 days to pay them, then you still have that cash on hand to fund that project before it's done. And then you can get paid for that project and then you can pay your vendors. So it's all about how much money you have on hand throughout the process. And then there's debt. So either I'm going to take a loan and my cash goes up, or I'm going to pay down my loan and my cash goes down. Again, that depends on the situation. And loans aren't always bad. So I don't want to give loans a bad name. Sometimes they're very necessary in business. And the final one, which is the most important, I feel like, is owner's investments and owner's distribution. So I want people to take more than they put in from their business. You want to be taking distributions, but this does impact your cash flow. And it's not, again, not a bad thing that you're paying yourself, but it is something to consider when you are looking at your cash flow, because you're taking money out of the business and paying yourself versus an owner's investment where you're putting the money back into your business.
I think it's so important here to note sometimes there's an opportunity and my hands are raised and I've got some feedback on Saturday from someone that does taxes and prepare, and it's not a noble thing necessarily to pay yourself minimum. It's important that you understand that the servant is worthy of his or her hire, and to make sure that you're getting paid adequately. And sometimes we have a tendency to shrink low and think that, but is a good thing. And not always is that the case. I believe that you sacrifice, and I love the way you explained it on one of the previous slides, as making sure that you can be in a position to lend to the business, but that ought not to be the norm. There's an indicator to me that something else is wrong if you find yourself, and also the fear factor of, okay, if I pay myself this much now and down the line, I'm impacting my cash flow, and down the line I need this. I'm going to turn around, ended up um lending it back to the business or whatever. But you got to have the right thinking and processing, and that's what you're speaking to us today. So I appreciate that. I hope that makes sense. Did you follow me there?
Yeah. And I think a lot of it just is aligning your desires of your heart with what's happening, right? It's not about, let me see how much money I can make. It's, I'm
Yeah,
looking for more money because I want to bless other people, or I'm looking for more money because I want to do things that align with God's word. Um, and again, you can't do those things if you don't have money. And I don't think God wants us all to live in shacks.
no, no,
Right. And we're all in
no,
different financial positions, which is okay. Like we're all in different places in life. But you should be comfortable. You don't want to be struggling. The
no.
goal is to never struggle. So you definitely need to pay yourself enough. And there are some standards that like a lot of companies will pay themselves a certain amount of money. So if you don't know where to begin with that, there's some places to start if you don't know where to begin.
Excellent.
So my point with this is that if you improve even just one of these, will your business do better? Yes. Right. If I can get more people to know about me, if I could do a marketing campaign and I get twice as many people out there to know who I am, my sales are going to go up just naturally. If I can charge people 1% more than I do right now, my sales are going to go up. Absolutely. If I can cancel some of those subscriptions, my expenses are going to go down. So if you work to fix even just one of these things, your business is going to be in a better place than it was before. But yeah, think big. Imagine if you improve all of the parts, you're going to end up with that money making machine. And that's exactly what I want people to think about. So this is actually the end. So in summary, what I want you to do, what everybody who's listening, is just start looking at your business like it is a machine. Because when you start doing that and you start looking at the different parts, whether they're these parts, maybe pick some from that list, pick 5 to start tracking, make improvements, then you're going to have that growing and successful business that you've always wanted. That's the reason you started to begin with. One that doesn't fail. I don't want anyone to be a statistic. I'm here to help eradicate business failure, and one that gives you back that control that you wanted when you first got started. We all want that. So this is what I am hoping everyone gets out of this presentation today, is to, if nothing else, start looking at the drivers of things that make the most difference in your business. And I know the challenge here is that a lot of people probably looked at that list and went, oh my gosh, it's way too many things. It's too much jargon. It's complicated. I can't say it's not. I can't. So I empathize with everyone out there that's not the money person, the one who doesn't like the numbers and like the jargon, and they don't want to sit down. They don't think it's fun to sit down and look at their finances. And I'm just gonna put this up here to say that's what we do. And if you need help in this area, whether it's me, I'm not saying hire me, I'm saying go find somebody. If nothing else, go educate yourself on these things. Go find a spreadsheet and just start tracking. Get a whiteboard and write it down. You have to start somewhere. And if you're at a place, I think it's great to hire a consultant to help you get to the next level and where you're going. And I think a lot of it's just education. In anything that you do in business, if you don't know, hire someone who does. Get the help, reach out, because that's how we all succeed in business. I don't know everything. I'm not a marketing expert. I'm not an expert at putting on events. That's not my wheelhouse. So I would have to ask somebody else to help me with those things. And I don't think there's any shame or guilt in doing that. So I just put that out there, but
Totally the opposite of is not shame and guilt is the way it's interpreted, but is coming clean, is being transparent, is also understanding that God has assigned people to you to assist you in your shortcomings. It's just like your admission of that and mine earlier, um, trying to do it all yourself is not the way that God intended it. Even the example that I used with my team, the opportunity, and I'm going to really be on this soapbox next year, and I'm starting it now. We have a network. A network intertwines and fits, and you have to tap into what the network provides to be able to get the most out of your network. And I know that my team and I are praying that God could send every opportunity that is needed to operate your business successfully, more so a machine as opposed to a job. In order that, I wrote it in the chat, maximum production of your business machine. And this is a great opportunity that you shared today for people to get connected with you. You're in our network, and we need to draw more visibility to this. And I'll talk to you more about it, but I'm glad Lisa's here, and we'll get Rose and the other team members involved, because one of the things is we've got to help people to have clarity in how to approach their finances. And even on this call, it came up to me with our monthly newsletter, is to be able to have that window of opportunity where we have not a full blog, but an opportunity for a highlighted moment. Are you doing this in your business? And so we'll talk to you about maybe the opportunity to partner with you. We've got other people like Lisa Stringer Bailey, that her approach is just a little bit differently from hearing her investment opportunities, things like that, which I'm sure you can cover some of that, and she covers some of this. But the greater opportunity is to start these people that have these I'm going to call you service providers, because we need to have maintenance on that washing machine. And
True.
yeah, before it just shuts down on us. And there are
Absolutely.
indicators, again, that I said in the middle of your presentation to let you know that you're about to crash. And if you ignore those indicators and continue to, if, for instance, your washing machine isn't fully going through the, what do you call it, the rings, the opportunity to wring the water out first all the way completely. And you said, oh, it's okay. I ignore it. I'll do it myself. And you keep doing it yourself. In a minute, you're going to have a full blown situation that they're going to come out soaked. You're not going to, you think I'm talking from experience? Yeah, that part. Yeah. But the opportunity here is to value the gifting and the expert knowledge that God has provided within the network, and to be able to position yourself to be able to have the wisdom is what I call it. And I knew it. I knew it and I didn't know what, but when I said that you would drop nuggets of business acumen to be able to propel us forward, both personally and professionally. I was like, wait a minute, you don't even know. And I felt a confidence and a peace to go ahead and place that out there. And I did. And already you've confirmed it with just what you shared with us today. So thank you so much for joining GCBN to strengthen us as a network. And even more importantly, I'm going to say is sharing this information. And like you said, it is education that is needed. And some people have education, a business knowledge expert in what you're talking about. Some, like you said, I don't do events. We can do events here, Kate, right, Lisa, with our eyes closed, but there
Right.
are opportunities that we find value in what you bring to the table. And so, what I really want us to change our focus is to stop working so much in our business and work on our business. And when we're work businesses, and when we're working on them, on our particular business, what happens is we have to value that someone else has knowledge in a particular that I may not necessarily. And it's not what you said. I agree, shame or guilt or whatever is so, you're so smart to do that. You're so wise, and you're so positioning your business to be a machine and not a job. And I love this.
And
I
I feel
I,
like
I didn't know how you were going to do that. I didn't know what it was
me
about, but I
neither. I'm glad it all came
that's
together.
good.
I
You
just want to add too that I feel like so many people just want to help. And if you're willing to ask a question, they'll give you an answer. If you reach out to me, I'm happy to answer any question. I feel like, especially in the Christian community, I feel like almost anyone is willing to do that. Obviously, they're not going to get a bunch of work for free, and you shouldn't want that either. But I think if you're looking for ideas or you're not really sure where to begin, there's so many people out there that are just willing to help. But you have to ask.
Exactly. And I love it the way you said, and you wouldn't want that to happen because a servant is again, and on the flip side, still worthy of his or her hire. And it's important they're doing it for the livelihood, but for the most part, it is easy. I've found the most helpful people are those that are very successful and accomplished with sharing information, giving you direction, but you want to make an investment as well so that they can continue to be successful. Stephanie, we've got to draw it close, but promise you, we're going to follow this up. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to ask you for one point in just a second for food to grow on. Maybe a one liner or a two liner that you'll leave us after I do a little bit of housekeeping here. Thank you all for joining us today. For those that will watch the replay, I want you to put us a note out there and let us know that this has been beneficial for you. I want to thank you for joining us each week here on Transformation Tuesday. Invite you to come tomorrow for Wellness Wednesday. We have a particular, oh my God, it's going to be so amazing. Jessica Banner is leading the discussion for the entire month of November, and she's talking about a particular that is so important about boundaries, and she's using Nehemiah as part of her project, and it's going to be wonderful. I want to invite everyone to tune in same time tomorrow for Wellness Wednesday. I want to ask you for a couple of opportunities. This is Community Partners Day, Thursday, just Thursday of this week. We're going to pass out checks in more than $7,500 to our GCBN community partners, whether it's Bethany House, the Gift Center, Leadership Academy, Family Promise, the YMCA, Destiny Rescue, so many opportunities where we're going to recognize these nonprofits that are leading amazing and champion great causes. And that's from GCBN. We call ourselves a small organization with a huge heart. This is one of my favorite events of the year. I'm very pleased and honored that one of our long-term corporate sponsors, Mark Treadwell, multiple Chick-fil-A owner operator. He's been supporting us for years, is our keynote speaker on this Thursday. We also recognizing our GCBN corporate sponsors. Yes, and telling them thank you and allowing them to be present for this free lunch where they see an opportunity for how their investment in GCBN is playing out in this particular aspect. So if you're interested in becoming a GCBN corporate sponsor, feel free to reach out to Lisa or myself and let us know, and come join this free luncheon so that you can see the great opportunities and what really happens behind the scene with GCBN Giving. Giving is so very, very important to Georgia Christian Business Network, and we're able to do this through our nonprofit God's People Ministry, Inc. Been around for about 20 plus years, and GCBN, we're wrapping up. This is 14th year, celebrating in December at the gala, and that's on the first Friday of December. If we just released it, Lisa made a Facebook event, Eventbrite event. We're looking for 10 vendors. Well, really, I think we're down to about 8. Two people have already immediately signed up to be vendors. You can still have an opportunity, but at that point, we're closing out vendors. We have great opportunity. We're going to cap participation this year at 75. We had so many people last year attend GCBN's gala, and we love that. But get your registration in ASAP because we will close out. Thank you so much for joining us. The other opportunity that I wanted to share with you is, in addition, is to please look at our website, gcbnetwork.com. If you're not already a member, we're putting God back in business and we need your help as a member. And if you're already a member, look at sponsorship opportunities, as I already mentioned. And this Thursday evening, you know that I'm the Atlanta director for the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs, and I'm so excited that Heather Rawson allows me to have that role. This is Friendsgiving this Thursday night, and I want to invite you to be my guest to participate. For women entrepreneurs that are serious about Jesus as their CEE, as Heather would say, Chief Executive of Everything. Please join us at Cornerstone Co-working. Just reach out to me. You have to register, but I'm inviting you to be my guest. It's usually $33 for attendance, but I want you to be my guest. And so please reach out to me so that I can give you information on how to register to participate with this amazing sisterhood, unlike any other, through the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for joining us. Stephanie, I want to hear that nugget that you're going to just leave us to grow on.
Oh man, I was thinking you have to set goals and track what you're doing, because how can you know how far you've come if you don't know where you've come from? So, and
Woohoo!
celebrate all the wins, because
And
you should always celebrate every stride you make in your business.
celebrate the win. So
Yes.
important. Thank you
So,
so much, Stephanie, for joining us. Lisa, thank you for your support. This was great, Stephanie. She's chatting there. And for all of those that have joined us today and those that watch your replay, thank you so much for being a part of the GCBN community. God bless you. We'll be in contact, Stephanie. Take
Sounds
care.
good. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye, Dale.
Bye.